Yeah.
There's a lot of different flavors of that.
Well,
It
now
go different ways.
somebody has got to sell Vegemite here in the United States.
Oh, you could
Oh, yeah, you
go
can
to
see it.
World Market and they sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you give it.
No, you should have make Mike taste it. It'll taste like Dead Man's Curve, and yeah, he'll be done with it.
Mike just smiled and gave himself a Vegemite sandwich.
No. So if movies had a taste, Dead Man's Curve would be the Vegemite.
Mike loves Dead Man's Curve.
Yeah.
A side note before we introduce ourselves and go through that we're an actual podcast. Our friend Emilio, who was on recently, and I were talking, and he was highlighting that he saves Dead Man's Curve because he loves Mike's bloodlust for the film. Yeah, he's like, that was like the best one. He's like, he loves it. And that brings us back. Welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks. We are a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. And we've been talking about Vegemite and travels to Australia. And yes, go back to our episode and listen to Paladin Mike's very favorite movie where we discuss in the episode Dead Man's Curve.
I'm glad that my rage pleases you.
That's
you
Mike's
go.
new band, Pleasing the Rage.
You don't want to do that.
Rage Against the Machine cover band.
Pleasing.
The rage.
It's like a Christian crossover.
Anger against the contraption.
Nice.
Oh,
Well,
God.
as always, I'm Paul, and next to me is Mike,
Hi.
who is raging.
I'm so angry right now.
He is thinking about Dead Man's Curve, and I mean, he's fisting right now. He's fisting Lamar, who's next to him.
No, he's not fisting me. That's
Dead man's,
inaccurate.
PTSD.
No.
Well, there's Lamar
Hello.
and Jeremy
Yo.
and Colin.
Hey.
He, I think, is choosing to remain more silent.
No one's. Yeah.
Well, we haven't even talked about the movie we're going to get to. Again, Rabbit Troop Sucks. We're going to be looking at Tremors from 1990. Jeremy, I don't know if I've ever seen this movie with you, but I have to assume you have seen this movie probably multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Many times.
And that highlights everyone in this room has seen Tremors, if not multiple sequels on top of that. I know Lamar and I are completionists of the franchise. So
Are you really?
Oh yeah,
I don't know about that.
Yes,
There's
we
so
are.
many, really.
No.
So you have
There's so many
seen
hidden
the
ones.
the last one that I referenced, like the sixth one.
Yeah, we confirmed this. So, fun story before I get into the trivia. At the start of the pandemic, we watched like number 4. We're like, this is crazy. Or it's like one of them is like back in the 1800s when like Pleasantville started. And we're like, you know what? Let's watch a bunch of Tremors. And we were watching this like online with each other because no one could leave their houses. And we were using like the shared applications you could use. And Lamar, we watched them all. We watched every single Tremors
yeah.
during the pandemic.
The one with Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, there's multiple.
man,
There's
I forgot
not
about
the one. I think there's maybe 2.
Yeah, there may be.
Well, we've got the original. Again, Tremors 1990. Natives of a small isolated town defend themselves against strange underground creatures which are killing them one by one. And spoiler alert, those creatures we're going to now be referencing as graboids.
I will never do that.
What are you going to reference them as?
Tremors, like God intended.
Feel the trem.
What is everybody's names for these monsters? I mean, we call them
Tremors.
I just call them Trimmer monsters.
A lot of my notes, honest to God, are just like, then the Tremors do this and the Tremors do
There
that.
you go.
The
That makes
Asian
sense.
man was he was the one that referenced
Egg.
graboids. Is he the one that came up with it?
I think it's probably a tribute
Walter?
to him.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Victor Wang. Walter, last time we saw him, again, rest in peace, was the Golden Child, where he played the old Goopa.
Do you think there are
Mike is
any
noting
real
egg.
life Asian Walters out there?
Yeah, probably a ton.
There better be.
Well, let me throw this
Really?
out. Yeah, well, I'm gonna throw this out culturally. I'm gonna be very honest about this. I had several Asian professors when I was going to school, and they highlighted, they're like, I have my original Chinese name, but when I came to America, I adopted, American names, and they're very formal. Walter would not surprise me whatsoever, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because like some of my teachers were named Greg and Ian, and that was like absolutely not their names. One of my professors, when he highlighted, he said something. He was like, "Sometimes I have like other names. It was like Steve or like Ronald." And like honestly, one of my classmates was like, why? He's like, I don't know. They all sound the same to me. People call me whatever. Like, whoa. But yeah, I mean, like, for those reasons, I would not be surprised. I mean, was he born with that name? Probably. Hell no.
I don't know. I rented a house from a woman who went by Ida Gomez. She was Korean and her name was like Sun Young Kim or something. And it was really weird every time she called. He's like, it's Ida Gomez. Like, who the fuck are you? He's like, I write my checks to someone else. I'm like, yeah, it's my American name.
Yeah, so for those reasons, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right.
I miss this guy. This guy's in so many great movies.
Yeah, he's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's fantastic.
Yeah, Victor Wang, a total character actor. We got like a bunch of notable people, and a really kind of unfortunately, like again, a lot of people maybe passed away in this. Kevin Bacon, not passed away. We got he is a Valentine. Fred Ward plays Earl. Finn Carter, who I've not seen, plays Rhonda. Michael Gross spans the series. Michael Gross, if you do not know, he is most notably outside of this franchise Alex P. Keaton's father in Family Ties. He is Stephen Keaton. I say this with a lot of admiration because I remember reading an article and there was like some kind of survey, and he came up as like top 5 TV fathers of all times. Lamar and I have watched a ton of Family Ties together. I would totally give that award to him. I think he's a totally fantastic actor in that series.
I agree. They well-written father figure in that series based off, well, Family Ties is just kind of a experiment in different types of parenthood and family structure. And Michael Gross fits a great character. And it's kind of odd that he pretty much, no spoiler, he just kind of takes over the series.
Oh, yeah.
Of Tremors. He's like a main character.
He's
in
the only
that
one, though, is he?
I believe he
He
is.
is, yeah, I think so.
Even in the
He's
one in the
even
past.
in the one from.
Yeah,
He plays his ancestor, of course.
That kind of threw me off too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's all up
right.
in there.
That's
Mr.
right.
For
Trimmer.
him, man.
Yeah.
How much do you think he's making off this trim money?
Not
Probably.
enough.
Listen, honest to God, I bet this dude just had a blast. I mean, like the later ones are so insane. That
Oh no, man! I think some of these films probably have grueling filming schedules. Like, we have to get this wrapped up in 26 days.
Maybe I just have this idea it's like a scant crew who kind of know each other, and it's like Michael Gross being like, dude,
Just Jolly Roger.
yeah, like I'm just gonna have a few beers and pretend I'm shooting some graboids. Like that's what I do. I'm like, oh my god.
Why do you think they're doing it on like islands and whatnot?
Yeah.
They're just on vacation.
Yeah.
It's an island of cocaine. I mean,
Right.
side note.
There you go.
And we also have Reba McEntire. You didn't expect that one, but we do.
Yeah.
And for a moment, the girl from Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
I
she's in it
accept
for a second.
But yeah, this movie's crazy. Also, I want to note a couple things. Real. They're trying to end summer. Bummer. We only got one more summer movie after this, and yeah, that's going to be it. So that's kind of a bummer. And I did want to mention again, we'll get you some more details in the next couple episodes, that we will again be at MiniCon at the Aurora History Museum on September 21st, Saturday. So we'll give you more details. And we've kind of picked a category that we'll be looking into, which I'll talk with these guys more off air. But yeah, that's how you do it. MiniCon.
Sounds interesting.
MiniCon. I feel the trem.
Yeah, you do.
Is that
How
how
can
we,
you not?
Is that
it's
how we,
always rumbling?
Is that how we announce
Robbing in the
ourselves
ground.
at MiniCon? Like, I have felt the trem. Mike
That's
just
your opening
Mike just
statement?
comes on a breeze and he's like, the trem has brought me.
Yeah, that's how I get around. On the trim.
Wow.
That and
That's gonna
other
be a good
inappropriate
conference.
language will be, fan favorites.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
You want me to talk about the
All right.
opening scene? It's Kevin Bacon
let's
urinating
get
off a
going.
cliff. That is
is.
literally
how
the
it starts. Yeah.
Classic.
That's one thing I like about this town is I believe that you can just literally pee anywhere. Nobody's
yeah.
going.
There's 8 people that live there, so I don't think anyone
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the pieces of trivia that I read about this was they didn't want in the trailers to divulge that it was a monster movie. They wanted people to think that it was like a killer on the loose kind of thing. And they wanted the first couple of deaths to be like potentially done by a person or like appear so that the viewers wouldn't know that it was a monster movie until like into the movie.
But they knew previews existed, right? And that I most likely would have seen a preview to this movie.
Correct, but they wanted to film the previews in such a way that there were no monsters in it.
Oh,
Cool.
But isn't the I almost said Predator? Isn't the Tremors logo like a tremor coming out?
I mean, I'm not giving you original information. I'm reading I'm telling you what I read.
Well,
what I read was that the producer, like,
That's just a man with a puppet on
Well,
his
well,
head.
how about this?
Getting
I'm trying to question you like they questioned Rhonda all throughout the film. Like, why don't you know more about the Tremors?
all I know is what the trivia thing said.
Get
but,
the executives on the phone, Mike.
well, the executives were
Yeah.
the one that was like, "No, this is a monster movie, you little bitch."
Yeah, once you're a scientist, I feel like people are going to ask you a lot of questions regardless of what you know.
Yeah.
You know? It's just the way it is.
She was just a student. She wasn't even.
Well, she was the only one there that was going to college.
Yeah, that's
She knew how to operate complex
there-
machinery.
Yeah.
There is a scene in Parks and Recreation where Nurse Anne like goes through that. She's like volunteering. So it's Rashida Jones. She's volunteering something like in the Parks and Rec department. Like people are like having to go through her to like schedule an appointment. She's like, I'll help your department out, but people start asking more questions. They're like, I need this. She's like, I could only schedule you. I'm actually a nurse. And they're like, oh, you're actually a nurse. I have a way separate, different question. And she's like, all day I was like answering medical questions because people just found out I was a nurse. So yeah, that's what's happening here. They found out that woman is a geologist.
She had some education.
Sure. Apparently geologist MD. I mean, that,
There you go.
in their minds.
Just enough information to pester her all day.
Yeah. Well, we meet Kevin Bacon, who is Valentine. He goes by Val, and we get to meet Fred Ward, who
Beautiful Maine, by the way.
who is Earl.
know?
Valentine and Earl, Val and Earl. They live in a podunk town, and they're doing odd and end jobs. They seem probably like what I would gather from the first few moments, that they do these jobs, they buy some food, they get some beer, they have like $1 or $2 left over after a couple expenses with like their work, gas, truck, and they do this every day, and their life sucks.
Yeah, got kind of that. It's
Got some
pretty.
beautiful views.
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
do it pretty good.
That doesn't.
Let
seem
me
too
ask
bad
you
to
this,
me.
though. This town, like Mike had mentioned this before. I mean, this town is what, around 8 people large.
Yeah.
Okay.
the sign said
Like-
14.
Okay.
Do you think there is any
That
place
sounds-
out there like this where there's just like
I was
this
thinking
town
that.
is 8
Yeah.
people, dude?
Drive around Colorado and you'll see a town every 15 or 20 miles and south.
Just like a couple
East.
buildings and then
just buildings and
4 homes.
you'll be like, who the hell lives here as you drive through?
I saw a localized meme that like real Coloradans say Colorado. I'm guessing those are the towns that they're telling you that you might be visiting.
You'll see a whole bunch of them just drive, and you'll
They call them the Pine Folk.
see a lot of them in Texas as well.
Yeah, Wyoming. I remember taking a road trip
Yeah.
to Idaho through Wyoming, and there were a bunch of towns that had 10 people in it and 2 houses
Wow.
and like a convenience store or something.
Like the dog's the mayor.
Jeremy, don't worry. Those were just the pine trees behind you.
Okay. I'm scared.
My tagline is going to be, I've been pining for you this whole time. That's the movie I'm making.
Very nice.
Wow.
This town was a little more organized than the other ones. It had more buildings.
Did they have pull taffy? Any small town in Colorado has a pull taffy machine.
That's true.
Jeremy, I'm not really
Full
joking.
taffy.
Yeah, like the saltwater pull taffy.
Yeah.
Well, if you like small towns and taffy, that's every town in Colorado.
Just go anywhere.
I don't like
You can
either
go
of those
anywhere.
things.
Yeah, Mike is not a fan.
No.
No.
Well, this town just had a pissy kid, and
Where did,
Yeah.
I
where-
promise you, there was a machine making.
Where did
taffy,
that
so-
kid come from? Did he have parents?
He was.
He
the
has a
taffy.
dad, I believe.
Did
Yeah,
he?
Who died in the movie.
Maybe he was the one pining.
Was
No,
that
just
his
pining.
dad?
Yeah, he went through the pining.
Where does he go to school? Where does the Jurassic
Pinewood
Park?
Forest.
girls
No,
go to
there's no
school?
schools out here, Mike. They're not. These are sovereign citizens. All right,
Yeah.
they do not follow the
That's
same
fair.
laws.
No.
Like they are just existing out on the frontier, dude.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, like 1776 was a great time, and
Right.
that's what we're gonna
They're
do.
tired of getting pulled over for their fake license plates, so they're just like,
Yeah.
fuck it. We're going to travel out here.
Well, I'm kind of also under the influence that everyone is kind of in debt to Walter Chang because they're using his equipment and they're probably paying and renting it. Like that guy just has a steady income for people doing jobs, like a pyramid scheme.
Sounds true.
Yeah.
They
Well,
spend like
well,
90%
I'm
of
assuming
the
he's
time
head
there.
of the town.
Well, all those septic tanks that they were using, it was like property of Walter Chang.
Right.
And stuff like that. So like that dude, I feel, owns the town. And I think that's kind of the premise of that other sequel where they're like in the 1800s.
Yeah. Well, that one woman wanted him to like build a kiln for her pottery business.
Yeah.
Why the fuck people are ordering pottery from a woman in the middle of nowhere?
Well, you take a bunch of mushrooms.
That's where the best pottery's made.
and you have a delusion that your pottery business is going to do well in this town.
maybe the
14.
customer for the pottery was Chang, and he was just going to sell it all back to everybody.
I think she was
Yes.
trying to become a pot.
I see.
That was the secret. That woman was trying.
I think
to
this
turn
would be a
herself into
perfect
pot.
town if you're addicted to peyote. Like this is a
That's-
place
yeah.
that you
Or if
want
you're
to
like
That's what I
on the
just
run
said.
from the law.
You live in a delusional world, and you're like, my pot business will be great, and
Well, the name of the
There
town
you go.
is perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
This was all just a fever dream in a Tremors mind.
this was Alex P. Keaton just freaking out before a big exam. That's his dream.
That was a shitty dream, and I would call it a fever dream if he was dreaming of this.
I don't think Alex P. Keaton would listen to Reba McEntire.
No.
That would have been.
doesn't seem to be his speed.
What they should have done is if they make a final Tremor movie with Michael Gross in it,
The Tremini.
it should be like the end of Newhart. Like he wakes up and he's like, oh man, is my son still a right wing nut job? I had this weird dream that I liked guns a lot.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I would
would
watch
end the
that.
series well for me.
I would
There
100%
you go.
watch that.
I really do hope he does sign up for one
somebody
more.
pass that up the line.
Right.
We need to get this made.
Yeah, TM.
That should be the shirt where we get basically just a petition going. Hey, we could get something
Yeah,
kickstarted.
that's true.
I mean, if we just
Yeah.
got enough money to kickstart something, we could just hire directors to do stuff.
That's true. Presently we have no money.
That's true. This is not a project that's starting well. And it's not headed in a proper direction. There's a lot going on. But I'll tell you what. You know where I got my Canon fuse and why I use it? It's for my Canon.
Duh.
Jeremy, you're not ready for the graboids. This guy's drinking the worm.
No, I'm not.
He's drinking a little graboid in his tequila.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's what that is.
Gets you from the inside.
No, that's a Manhattan, man.
All right.
Yeah. Tastes good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're like 5 seconds into this.
Yeah, we haven't even. Yeah, so they're peeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mean people.
Yeah.
Well, as we said, like we've given their background, and you know, we just kind of see their day to day, and they're very clear. Like we got to get the hell out of this business.
Yeah, they want to leave town.
And as I noted, they were working to.
Well, they
septic
get
tank.
covered in shit, and that's
Yeah.
when they decide, like, hey,
Yeah.
we gotta
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah, they pack up the truck. They're like, we're going to like this other town. I'm gonna call it Shelbyville,
It's Bixby.
Bixby, Shelbyville.
Yeah, same thing.
There's another. Wow. Okay.
Well, it's a real town supposedly
Yeah,
on the other side of the mountain.
town of 28.
We're
friend.
going to a real town, Daddy.
Now that's the town with the pulled taffy machine. But what would be the equivalent in like nowhere, California? What's their pulled taffy?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeez.
Street tacos.
Yeah. Yeah, pulled street town.
Where did this meat come from? Don't worry about it, friend.
Yeah.
Why is it stretchy?
Oh God! I make them in a pulled taffy machine. Old family secret. Grandpaps from Colorado. Well, they just want to get out of this shit-filled town because they're shit-filled themselves, and they're like, "That's it, we're doing it." And yeah, even this woman stops and she's like, "You know what? I'll pay you some money. It'll be at least a few months' work." And
She even throws in free beer.
well, she's like, I'll even give you lunches. And they're like, nah. And they're like, free beer.
Fuck
and they're
you.
like, yeah. But then, nope, they're on the road. They're like, we it was like they passed the temptation of accepting the one ring to rule them all.
Yeah.
They were like, we did it. We faced temptation. And even Kevin Bacon, Val, even says, I can't believe we passed up free beer. And he's like, yeah.
I think they high-fived on that one, too.
Yeah, they did. They were really stoked about it.
They're all high-fiving.
Yeah.
I'm still high-fiving.
Yeah.
They just can't get out of town, can they?
No, because they're driving and in like a big radio tower, they're like, isn't that Edgar Deebs? And they're like, no. But they're like, maybe pull over. And Val's like, it's totally Edgar Deebs. And he's super dead way up in some kind of tower holding a big rifle.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
They recognized Edgar because he wears his old jacket.
He's got the one jacket.
They went up there and discovered that he just just he had a gun on him,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he looked dehydrated as fuck.
Right, and rather than just ignoring it and leaving, they're like, "Well, we should probably bring him back to town."
right. I
And
mean,
they
it is,
do.
admittedly, it is 1990,
Yeah.
so I mean, I would understand if they phoned this one in, but no one's got a cell phone or anything like this. So they do. I mean, we don't see this, but there's a kind of like a hard cut scene, and they kind of note that they pulled him down, and there's a doctor now involved, and he's like, "This guy died of dehydration." And they're like, "What the hell? Like, wouldn't that take
Can
a
I
while?"
ask you a question here?
No.
Like this doctor lives out there. Like he's building a house with his wife.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Oh, it looks like
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like if I built a house, so sure.
Yeah.
What kind of doctor is this, man? Like what doctor is living out in this town?
He's a retired doctor.
He
Yeah.
lost a lawsuit and he has to hide it.
He was
Mob
away
doctor.
from society in the middle of nowhere, Breaking Bad style.
Yeah.
In a cinder block house.
I mean, based on the craftsmanship of his house,
The framing was terrible.
It didn't look good, yeah.
I believe this guy is doing exactly what he's doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel any of us could do an equal or better job. To what
I think he was
saw.
just
Maybe-
doing it
maybe he's
himself
a doctor
too.
of
Just,
love.
Yeah, no crew. I think he was just doing it himself.
Yeah, it was him and his wife.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All
I'm
right.
going to tell you right now, I would have done a worse job, but
I don't think that's possible, Mike.
I don't know. I'm not.
It
I
really
feel,
just
aren't
looked
you
like this
fixing up your own
rickety thing.
house?
I mean, I'm paying people to fix up.
Oh, you are.
Well, it was a house that was there, and it had a
not
foundation and
building
frame.
a
He's
house.
not building it from scratch in the
Mike
middle
actually
of the
oversees it. He like literally gets up on the roof and oversees.
desert. Take binoculars. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, I stand up there and lord over.
Yes.
I hope you do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sometimes he has a
Atlas
scarf.
shrugs.
Sometimes he has a scarf that just flaps in the wind.
Not
beautiful.
sometimes, all the time. That's how they know who's in charge.
Hey, flyboy.
Well, now they're like, "What the hell's going on? Like this is weird." But okay, you know what? They're gonna get out of town. I don't know if I'm skipping around. Have we met the? We already met.
Yeah, that was
Rhonda.
like at the very beginning.
Yeah.
It was after the peeing.
Yeah, so like in between all this, I don't want to get too far. We meet Rhonda, and she's a geologist.
Seismologist.
She's a seismologist. And
Student.
yeah, they just kind of sent her out to take some readings because they saw a couple like interesting blips, I guess. Kevin Bacon is
Yeah.
super hot for her.
There's tremors where there shouldn't be tremors.
Oh, feel the tremoning.
Yeah. Trim it up.
Wow. Earl's advice is like, go talk to her about seismology stuff. And I told all the guys in the room, like, you got to be a real ass clown to try to even pull this move off. So, like, imagine you walk up to an expert in their field and they're like, I don't know the equipment you're using or anything, but I'm going to tell you I know more about it than you and kind of like flirt with you. So let's see how this works. Terrible plan. Don't do that.
It kind of worked though.
I mean, in reality, don't do that.
Yeah. This was the
It doesn't really work, Mike. Like, she thinks he's a doof, but by the end,
Yeah.
doof becomes foof.
yeah.
That's a perfect trailer.
Well, he just he kind of mansplains a little bit about how her machines may or may not work and offers to fix them,
Yeah,
which he doesn't know how to do.
yeah, and they drive off.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at now. Finally, the boys are back out of town.
Yeah. Once
Boys
I
are
again,
back
think there's
out of
YouTube
town.
videos on how to fix seismology machines.
probably.
Yeah,
Probably now.
yeah, now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Settle down, future boy.
Oh, well.
So yeah, now they're gonna get out of town, and they see some construction workers. They're like, all right, they zip around them.
Well, they go to the old Fred shack. No farmer that's just out in the middle of nowhere.
A shepherd.
Just a farmer.
Well,
who
no, I
was
think they
doing-
hit the farmer before they hit the construction people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because when they're driving by the construction people, they yell out the window like, "There's a fucking killer on the
Oh,
loose."
yeah.
That's when they're
That's
on their
what
way
kinda
back.
spooked him.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They
yeah,
find
because
him dead.
They find the farmer dead with all the sheep
Oh,
dead.
okay.
Then they warn the
And this
construction
one, they're
workers.
like, "We're not going to go back to town this time. Fuck these guys."
No.
And they just leave.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good idea. Yeah, and then the construction workers, keep digging. And then they dig into one. Mm-hmm. And it's like, "Wee." Like you literally hear that sound. Wee.
It screams like a cat.
Yeah. And then there's some blood ooze.
Yeah.
and then that little tentacle thing takes control of the jackhammer, and then the jack get jacked.
I thought they struck oil for a second when he struck into him and just popped up like red goo.
Just turns into Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The song, the theme song started playing. That would have been awesome.
It's the crossover you never expected.
I would not expect that.
I read on IMDb, that was the other trivia. They thought they were doing Beverly Hillbillies, and then it turned out to be this movie. Yeah, so they're driving back to town yet again. There's a lot of ping-ponging back into town.
Why do they go
and-
back to town the second? Or why do they try to go back to town the second time?
Well, because now they're trying to warn people. They're like, there's a killer. So they go back to town because Fred is dead. They find Fred's face.
I thought they just left after that.
No, they go back.
Yeah, they go back.
They try to call
Just
Bigsby.
too
and
many
then,
murders.
The phone doesn't work.
Because I thought when they saw the sheep guy dead, and then
Well, there's one more part. They get stuck with one of the tentacles.
well, that's when they're on their way back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they go to old Fred's farm to see all the dead sheep.
Right.
Then they go back. That's when they're like, you got to get out of here. There's a murderer on the loose. Like, you can't listen to him. He's crazy.
Right.
Those guys are out.
Right.
They try to call Bigsby for the police. The phone's dead. Then they try to leave again. Road's blocked because the construction guys are dead.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of going back and
Yeah,
forth.
man.
So
They
now
should've just left.
We're
now-
like 8 minutes
Well,
in.
now they're like, now we're like, oh my god, we've got to get out of here, and then they get stuck. You think as an audience member, the truck gets stuck, kind of like in the back of a, I don't know, like roadside cliff.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and then they get out. So cool. Then they get back to town, and they're like, oh my god, there's this big snake-like thing on your truck or underneath it, and then they sell it to Walter for $15, which he then proceeds to upcharge. He puts it on
Charge
the wall.
$3 a picture.
Yeah, and takes pictures, and they're really pissed off about that.
Hey, you got to make money somehow.
Oh yeah, he's a savvy man.
Yeah.
Monster tentacle got wrapped around the axle and then just selling it for $15. They had no idea what it was. Just like a big flesh part. Just they had no idea what it was, and they're just selling it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Walter bought it and resold it.
That was the Colorado taffy right there. It was their axle.
Don't worry about what's in your sandwich. We have all sorts of
Stretched out for
jerky.
It's checking time.
You have a cut back to the doctor and his wife.
Yeah, so we see the doctor. We've seen him once now. We see him with his wife. They're out camping, and they have put up this very rickety house, and they're, this is like a really, this for me is like the only sad scene. Like, this movie is a lot of fun, but like if you're like really looking at something, like this scene is just kind of like more horrific. Because it's like an elderly couple, and they're like, oh, we've retired, and, every day we'll be sleeping under the stars.
We're building this death trap of a house.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's for you, baby. And then they
There's
see
no code out here.
they hear some things, and then their generator goes out, and then he's like, oh my God, it's gone. They go investigate. It's underground. They try to pick out this cord. The guy is like brutally sucked down. Like, the doctor is super dead. She's freaking out. She runs into her station wagon, shuts the door, and the entire car is just sucked under. And like, she's dead.
A lot of sucking.
Yeah, I mean, this scene, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, in one way, it like really shows like the gravitas of like what these things could do. But in other ways, like, I really feel the scene almost doesn't fit the vibe of the movie. Because everyone else's deaths are like a little different.
I kind of agree. There's the farmer. He died kind of horrifically, but not like this because
was
there's
so
another.
quick, yeah.
There was another person involved. You can see the horror on her face as her husband is being dragged down to the ground.
I feel, well, he's like, please God save me, and she's like throwing like 2x4s so he can like grab on.
Yeah.
Like that's just not working.
Would it have been
I
better
think
if they showed the guy starving to death at the top of that radio tower over 3 days?
I think it's like we were shown the death. I think
Right.
what I'm saying is like, if this is like, oh no, like sucked under, you're like, oh, that sucks. And I was like, this is like really just like, oh my God.
Here's something to think about. They never saw her
I
dead.
know.
So she's like, she could be alive
Yeah,
in that car.
She's in that,
she most likely
she's
was,
in that
yeah.
station wagon, Colin. That's what I was thinking, man. Like,
Probably-
she's
but-
down there, dude.
But she
Dig it
probably.
out.
My thought is the thought is she probably suffocated.
Yeah,
Yep.
most likely, or they just ate her out of the can like
tuna.
Yeah, just like tuna.
Kind
Just
of,
slurped her out.
hopefully. That,
Graboid tuna.
Graboid tuna.
Is your graboid
Ate her
hungry?
out of the can.
Does it need tuna?
What mascot do you have, like Charlie, to hold that?
Puppy safe.
Puppies, like dolphins safe.
No puppies were mixed in with this.
Yeah, we know our limits.
Yeah, there was a horrific death.
Yeah.
There's no other death like this in this movie.
Yeah, they also note here, which is like a little bit of a trend, that like anytime the Tremors are around, the Tremoning, they stink to all high heaven. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, what's that smell?"
It's tuna. Gas station tuna.
Dog free. Oh my god. Dog free gas station.
I had to let that imagery set in my mind for a second, Jeremy, and it hurt my tum as equally as it did my mind.
Were you letting it saute in your brain?
Yeah, and then it affected me.
As well it should.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Things happen.
We're back at town.
Back to Walters.
Again.
Yeah, I told
Yeah.
you back in town.
Back at Walters.
The boys are back in town again.
There's only 2 interior sets of this movie, and one is Walters and one is the Gummers' residence.
Hey, we get some Trem Cam every now and then.
That's
so
true.
Don't discount Underground.
Okay, there's underground. But what?
To the next town.
What's the plan now? They're gonna go on horseback.
Yeah.
To get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great. Yeah, they load up 2 horses, man.
Yeah.
Off they go.
Egg gives them some bullets and some Swiss cheese to take with them.
I'm like, honestly, this isn't. Yeah, we got to unpack that in a second. This is not a terrible plan. They're like, who could ride horses well? And apparently, Val and
those
Earl, like the town heroes. I kind of dig that. And they're like, what was it? It was like 40 miles to the next town, right?
They know how to pump shit and ride horses, man.
Yeah, I
Two
mean,
skills.
how long would it take to ride horses there?
Not long. I think they said it was like 28 miles.
Okay.
No, that wouldn't take long at all.
No, on a horse. No.
Yeah.
You could bang
Right,
that out.
so like all their problems with the road and stuff like that, I'm like, this kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, no one knows what they're up against. They're like, there's some weird stuff underground. Like,
Right.
we've got to figure this
Here's
out.
my thing. Like, what have these things been eating? Like, where did they come from? Like, they've had to be eating something to get as large as they are.
If you want the answers,
they're probably
to that,
horses, dude.
You have to watch the prequel that takes place in cowboy times.
Yeah.
That's the origin story. They tell you all about it.
God damn.
So you got to
have
get
time.
deeply
I
entrenched
think I
in the
watched
Tremors.
that, man.
Jeremy, you definitely have time for that.
Old timey graboid chow.
If you're asking questions like that, you got to watch 4 or 5 Trimmer movies.
Yeah, I want you to clear your schedule for the next couple.
Please.
when you've got to be a completionist. If you need to feel the full Tremoning everywhere.
Will it be like shooting down snake venom and be like lightning?
The thought of watching all the Tremors movies gives me tremors.
Yeah.
Like pleasurable ones, like in
No.
your penis? Or, okay.
in my
I
little
have
tremor.
created tremors.
my little grab.
Colin unintentionally is emitting a little bit of electricity off his body. There's a couple sparks you see.
Fuck. All right, so they're off on horseback.
Yeah,
what are they doing, dude?
You know what they're doing?
Oh,
They're
yeah, their
eating
horses
Swiss
get
cheese.
fucked,
We've got to
don't
go
they?
back. So Walter nicely is like, here's some horses because he owns everything in town.
Mm-hmm.
Here are some like rickety guns, but luckily Reba McEntire, Heather, and Bert give them better guns.
Yeah,
But-
Bert had his own gun. He had a fucking sweet like cowboy pistol.
But as Mike noted, Walter's also like Walter goes, here's some bullets and Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
So
he
Well,
said,
you
"Here's
need
some
bullets, and you might get hungry.
Yeah,
it's a block of Swiss
cheese
cheese.
travels well, especially Swiss cheese.
Horses love Swiss cheese.
Nice sweaty cheese.
You can get a combo
Yeah.
pack like that at 7-Eleven.
Usually, you'll keep it in some kind of type of cloth
Well,
so it can breathe. You know,
It was actually an old cowboy trick that, you know, if it's a hot day, you take a hunk of Swiss cheese, wipe your brow with
yeah,
it, and then
and
throw
the
it in your
sweat
back.
won't pool down
Yeah.
your brow. You know,
That's where the term sweaty cheese came from.
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You should look that up, listeners, but please, if you do, I hope it is on the dark web.
Yeah.
You don't want to be attached to that, sir.
I don't, and there's going to be a lot of new meanings for you
Oh, man.
that I don't understand.
Got the onion brow.
Well, quick into this trip, the Tremoning happened. The horses start freaking out. Listen, I know nothing about horses. I've never ridden a horse. Maybe if I was like a child, I went around like one of those circles at a carnival. Like I have never ridden a horse at all. But these
What about
two,
one of those horses out in front of the grocery stores?
I don't know what grocery store you were going to.
Little
That was
penny
going-
horses.
Like you put a quarter in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Come on, Paul.
I've
No,
read-
where
I've
he
read-
lives, they just have horses.
Hop on board, buddy.
Sure.
Your fancy horse technology.
Look at this guy, future man over here. His toy horses and his knowledge of the internet and YouTube. So they know horses. They know riding horses.
Mm-hmm.
If a horse is spooked like that, why are they both like, what's going on? Like, you know something's going on, and they kind of like mess around with that way too long. And because of that, Never-Ending Story Swamps of Sadness style, those horses are also insta-sucked down. Like, 2 dead horses, because they're like, what's going on? Why are the horses... If they just kept riding, they probably would have lived.
Yeah.
I would assume if they just kept riding in this moment, they were probably halfway, maybe a third to that town. And if they just kept riding, they would have made it to freedom.
I think that was kind of
Well,
the
that's
problem.
every movie we've ever reviewed.
I'm
If
gonna
they were
take these
just
bikes-
Fucking got.
And I'm going to ride them to Mexico.
Well, I think-
Freedom, Willie. Freedom.
They got spooked, so they wouldn't
Yeah.
go any farther. That was kind of the problem.
Right, but couldn't you just like go a different direction? Like there was so much open land at this point in time.
They kind
Turn
of
around and go
tried,
back,
but
yeah.
it just like the horses were just
spooked.
spinning around in a circle.
Once they're
and-
spooked, they're spooked.
Yeah,
That's
and
it?
By then,
Yeah.
they were graboid.
Yeah.
So a horse is like a 2-year-old child that if it's like scared, it just goes in freak out mode like ah.
Yes,
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much
it.
so,
Apparently,
I've got rickety legs.
How do
Ready
you
to get out.
eventually calm that horse down?
Swiss
Wait,
Give
cheese.
it a carrot.
Swiss
You
cheese
give
and a
it, give it
bullet.
time and space.
It's funny that Mike says that. So Walter knew.
It is now a 13-year-old child.
Walter knew that Swiss cheese would come in handy. If a horse spooks, you shove a block of cheese down its
Yeah,
Yeah.
old trick, old but effective trick.
that's hilarious.
Well, guess what? Guess where they're going back?
Is it town?
The fucking no! Wait a minute.
Well, no,
don't
they don't go
find
back
somebody?
to town.
Well,
Yeah,
they're trying to make their way
That's
back.
true.
Yeah. Well, one,
Well, they have to
they
kill
end
one
up
of these
killing
things
one of
first,
these
don't they?
things
Yeah.
because they
That's
run
a-
it into a wall by accident.
Yeah.
But that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, the one that killed their horses are now it's after them, and so they just start running.
Yeah, and they run into like a water, like an aqueduct.
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever
like
it
a
was.
canal or some
Yeah.
shit, like a water transfer system.
Yeah,
And-
there's no water in it, FYI.
And,
No,
and
it's
this
dry out
Tremors
there.
running or going so fast underground, burrowing, that it just rams its head. They think maybe it knocked itself unconscious, but it's super dead. Blood is gushing
Mm-hmm.
out. They see these tentacles in its mouth, and then we see Rhonda who runs up. Like, hey,
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that was possibly a water slide for like those tremor things during the rainy seasons?
Do you think they built it? It was
Yeah.
like in the before times.
Yeah, they said they were super smart. Like it was like
Slide.
fucking figuring shit out later.
slippity slide.
Yeah, a little trim slide.
You know, living in the city, which these Tremors may or may not have once done. It was do or die.
Yeah.
like this whole movie, they would have been fine if they just stayed on the other side of that little aqueduct, and they just never
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Dummies.
Yeah.
we're not dealing with smart Trems here. That's gonna be later in the series. There's mutations. Jeremy, they're the ones that fly.
God.
They're the ones that
Yeah.
fly.
Oh, that's
Really?
fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's yeah. The series is bananas, but it all starts here.
Yeah.
The Treming.
It all
Yeah.
starts here with
So-
the trim.
They find PhD candidate Rhonda or whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah,
She
that's
finds
Rhonda.
them just randomly. She
Yeah.
walks up, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah, she's like, oh, is that a dead thing? It smells bad. But then another one attacks him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't like that.
No. But they hide out like on a rock? They figure it out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get on a rock.
Yeah, this
Her
this,
truck's nearby.
This
Yeah,
this
what
is
kind of?
I don't know why this is one of the most memorable moments in the movie for me.
The pole vaulting?
Yeah, it's the pole vaulting. I don't know why I always think of this. But yeah, so they spend the night and they're like, oh my God, this thing is still here. And then in the morning, they kind of test the waters, throw some stuff out, and the Tremor's still by the rocks. Rhonda's like, okay, this is kind of clear. These things could hear us. The rocks are perfect conduits for them to hear, so they know we're here. So I'm going to go where we're not going, but no one's listening to her. Val and Earl are kind of bickering amongst one another, and she just basically pole votes over. There's a bunch of poles, like wooden poles. all right. And she goes rock to rock until they kind of get to the mountains and the mountainous area, I should say.
Yeah.
And their plan is to get to her truck and drive off.
Yeah. And they do
Yeah.
that.
Well, the scene,
Sort of.
Well, the scene's kind of weird because the music kind of takes a weird turn.
I totally agree
Turns
with you. That's kind
whimsical.
of it's one of the moments. It's like all like happy-go-lucky. So it's all like people are dead. We've seen faces, but now it's like
You got to add that happy sauce to this.
yeah.
These types of films, man.
Jeremy, because you were there, I'm gonna throw it out. It kind of reminds me of like weird, adventurous outback music because it's like. You see them pole vaulting and they're laughing and then you're like, boom, boom. It's like, do, boom. And you're like, all right.
But it's not bad. It's way different,
It's a
but it
tonal
doesn't
shift,
take you out of
but
it.
it's good.
Tonal shift, but it's not zany. Like it's now a Disney movie. It's still it takes you out of the horror element and it brings back the comedy element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this movie's listed as a comedy horror. I don't agree with that.
Well, everything with Kevin Bacon is a comedy.
Yeah, that's
Well,
unfortunate.
the best part of the movie happens in a second when they get to the truck.
Tell us, Mike.
They pole vault into the truck right when the tremor comes. It pops out with its little tentacles, and Kevin Bacon just fucking cold cocks it in the face.
Yeah, dude. He does, man. Like,
I noted sometimes you just got to work with what you got.
Yeah.
And that's what he had.
It looked like a bitch slap.
He had
Was
a
that-
fist.
Yeah.
He punched that thing right in the face.
Right.
in his little tentacly face.
Like Conan and the horse.
Yeah, and so the
Camera.
girl is she is diving down to press like the gas and like the fucking clutch and whatever the fuck else she needs to press. Her
Yeah.
head is down by the gas pedal and the brake pedal.
Yeah, she dives.
But now
into, like,
she's
the rear window.
driving. Yeah, she's just driving, dude. She knows where the road's at.
She's doing okay,
She doesn't
too.
have to look.
Hey, Jeremy. Boom. Boom. Once you have that kind of power up and courage, you could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Springy trim.
Is that a new publication that you're going to be investing?
Maybe.
This has been brought
Do
to
you
you
guys have any
by.
money to invest in that?
We'll talk after hours,
Yeah.
friend.
I'll get a piece of that. Well,
That's where they're going.
yeah.
Back to town.
Back to
town.
town. Back to Walters.
Where's the princess? She's
Gotta
stuck in the
resupply.
fucking cave. Yeah, gotta resupply.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this time, they're kind of followed a bit.
Yeah. Two graboids kind of found their way back to town.
Well, they figure out based on the seismic paper readouts that there's 3 more.
Yeah, she's like, listen, there's more than this because we've seen one, we've killed one, so there were 2, one's dead. But based on these seismic readings, there are 4 sectors and they were miles apart. So she's seen the size of one because Kevin Bacon was kind of digging one out. So clearly, if you're miles away, these things aren't, just like hundreds and hundreds of feet long.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has deduced that we've got 3 more on our hands and clearly there are 2 in town.
Yeah.
2 are back in town.
The 2 are back in town.
So there was a total of 4, correct? They have killed one, and there are 3 more.
Sounds
Correct.
right.
4 on
right.
the floor, friend.
Yeah.
And they're
you
testing
go.
out the
Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Testing
With that
out
dance
the-
groove.
they're testing out the foundations on all these places.
Look out, dude.
I took you out of it.
Yowza.
Yeah, I was all. Now I'm like clubbing. I'm in the clubbing scene, dude.
Jeremy's not even wearing a shirt right now.
He's just over there tremoring.
Just flopping around. Woo!
He is using his shirt currently as a lasso.
All right.
If your wife walked in on that scene, how would that go?
Oh man.
Because I would clearly not edit that from the recording.
Yeah, I'm hoping that she would take her shirt off and start flinging it around too, and then I would leave for a little bit and come back.
Yeah, that's when the podcast goes black.
Jeremy forgets he's still hot on the mic, and we turn this into
Hot on the mic.
our first Patreon episode. Our combination of OnlyFans / Patreon.
Right. Hot on the Mic is the title of my Patreon /
Nice.
How's it
That's a good name.
after hours?
I gotta go.
Yeah. This podcast.
We have to do. Should we just say like a bunch of TMs now? Because I feel like these are all legitimate business ventures.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes, yes. they
Everything
are.
mentioned on Rabbit Troop Sucks are intellectual properties owned and operated by Rabbit Troop Sucks. TN.
Thank God he's a lawyer.
Someone's got to
The
be.
boys are back in town.
Yeah. Well, and they're figuring out that it's like vibrations. They can't
Good vibrations.
good or bad.
Oh.
Mostly good. But the Tremors don't like it. Well, they love it. But that's how they find you. Those good.
Yeah, they like
vibrations.
those vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
And everybody's putting out vibes.
yeah, and eventually an ice machine goes off. It's rattling like bop 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 bop, and they're like, "Oh my god, we gotta unplug it!" Because it is summoning that tremor very directly.
And just think, Walter asked them to fix it earlier, and they're like, eh.
In the background, we don't really need to note this character. I just want to note there is a younger dude, maybe like 15, 16, and I just want to say his name's Melvin, and that's fantastic. That Melvin
Yeah.
is lurking around. Melvin eventually gets a gun. Melvin's got a gun.
Do you think there's a spirit out there that like names the people as they come into this town, like Melvin and Walter and whatnot?
I do now.
Bert.
yeah.
I now have subscribed to your religion.
Yeah.
It's like the
I think
90s. So there's no one
Yeah.
was there to hear about current and common names. So they just were stuck with these old ass names.
I think
There you
as
go.
you enter the town,
Colin figured it out, dude.
I think the town has a magnet for people like this. It
was-
just attracted
it was-
to
it was-
this.
Melvins and Walters of
Yeah.
the world.
Right. It was founded by Crackery.
Is it crackery? Okay.
Yeah, find that place.
Is that a name? Is that like or is that like
God, we're all dying now.
is that a state of being that happens when you do crack?
Yeah. I've entered the cracker.
You're a lifetime member at the Cracker Barrel. Finally, you've become the Grand Wizard of the Cracker Barrel.
God, don't you dare edit this shit out, dude. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing content.
We don't edit this show.
The show's fully unedited. After hours.
Yeah. Oh, did the ice machine say Pepsi on it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a mistake.
Did it? Because my note says Pepsi dooms us all.
Oh, yeah. Well,
There's a
that's
lot
good.
of Pepsi stored around it.
Okay.
So it's either that or
It's a Pepsi town.
or both.
Yeah, and if it's a Pepsi town, I understand why these graboids are pissed off.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
now
you
just
know?
consumed a bunch of
That's
Pepsi,
very
and they're
true.
like, no,
Like, fuck
Yeah.
no.
What have you done?
I
Yeah.
don't know, but what,
the
would you
graboids.
would you come back for that? I mean, yeah,
For
Pepsi or for revenge, I guess. But
Burn this place.
Lamar,
down.
knowing that there's Pepsi there, I wouldn't want to come
You
back.
remained
anywhere.
dormant for hundreds of years and awoke to Pepsi.
This
Yeah,
entire movie was funded by Coca-Cola.
You instantly turn into the Hulk.
I would be pissed off. Yes.
Well, they head to the roof
Yeah.
because that's all they could do.
Well,
And-
the floor is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not really much they could do. Heather and Bert are in their kind of bunker house, and it is just a wall of guns, which is going to come in handy kind of quick because they are able to radio back and forth. They're using shortwave radios.
Shortwave.
And they're like, okay, so we're on the roof. This is what's happening. And Heather and Bert were on patrol. They saw what happened to the doctor's house and amongst like other things that have been happening, like the roads closed and like dead people, etc. So they're like, okay, they go home. They get like a bunch of guns and they're doing some stuff. And eventually these graboids are even doing more damage to the buildings. It's just not a good time.
Yeah.
But a graboid tries to go for Bert and Heather. What machine are they doing? Why are they making a bunch of noise? They're like cleaning
They were
bullets.
Yeah.
making bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were making bullet casings and shit.
Yeah,
They're
as you do.
Radio.
As you do.
That goes next to the taffy machine.
Well, let's just say that these guys have enough guns that they need to make their own bullets.
That's
it would
fair.
be economically unacceptable to do otherwise.
Yeah, bullets are expensive.
Yeah.
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 They know what they're doing. They were radioed before that there's Tremor monsters on the way, and they didn't believe it at first. But then one pops up in the wall,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
just pop right gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch. Pops right into the corkboard.
and then because this this gun action, I love this scene because it's
This is
just
dope.
guns. It's guns and guns.
Yeah, so you see they have a bunch of guns, but the camera gently pans to the left, and you see it is a house o' guns. It is
More guns.
Yeah, and these guns are somewhat effective, sort of. And I told these guys in the room, they were using Uzis, shotguns, rifles. And I stood up and I said, America, as I clapped.
Yeah,
And
He did. Paul was waving an American
He
flag.
released
did.
a bald eagle out of a cage that was in his
I opened my chest like Michael Jackson's like jacket, and that bald eagle flew out of it. And his wings were made of flames.
Wow.
American Guyver.
I love that it's kind of slowing this thing down, but it's not fully killing it. And like honestly, this is an awesome move. Michael Gross, Bert grabs an elephant gun, loads it up, and just starts blasting the shit out of it, and does kill it.
Yeah, the shells for this thing were like vegetable
big.
cans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had to break a glass case. I like how all the guns are on display except this one
was the
elephant
emergency
gun,
gun, yeah.
just in a glass case.
Well, I
by
kind
itself.
of took it like they're gun fanatics, and this was like his one antique in the
Yeah,
room. Like,
that
I'm never
makes
going to use
sense.
it, but I've got bullets for it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
man.
It was apparently one of the only guns that wasn't a prop gun. It was a real gun that they borrowed from somebody because they thought it was cool.
Wow.
Trivia.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Guys, keep that in mind if you ever come across a question at
Yeah.
trivia night at the bar.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the only real gun in Tremors?
Yeah.
Was it the same elephant gun used in Jumanji?
Probably.
Maybe.
Fucking
I
blabbermouth.
hope so.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah.
dream about it.
But
That's
that
Tremors dead.
does work, yeah.
So now we're down to two. One is still in town. We don't really know where another one is, I don't think, right?
No, it's outside Bert's.
That's
So
right, that's
one's
right,
at
that's
Bert's,
right.
one's-
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Because they go outside, good call, Colin, and they're like, where's the other one? And it is immediately outside of their house. And Bert is still trying to use the elephant gun to shoot, but he cannot basically shoot through the dirt.
He's
and
not getting penetration.
You
The
can't
dirt.
get penetration.
Yeah.
If you would like to
Reba.
write Rabbit Troop Sucks and get isolated sound clips, as always, this is the time to do it. Rabbit Troop
You
Sucks
gotta have
podcast
penetration.
at
Paul.
gmail.com.
When you're talking about the trim,
Yeah.
you gotta have that penetration.
Especially when you get to be Bert's age.
Right. And then Reba like rolls her eyes and there's a womp womp. God damn it.
This is an audio format.
Yeah, no one can see this. Well, we can upload videos to YouTube.
OnlyFans.
Hot on the mic.
You flustered him.
The plan is to get in Bert's car and
Into my dreams.
into his GMC Jimmy and just kind of get the fuck out. His GMC Jimmy funded a few moments. That's what it was, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that really what it was?
Yeah, it was. It was a Jimmy.
There you go.
Lots of things.
GMC had trouble with naming things back in the 90s.
Name it Jimmy.
Jimmy! we make one car. What should we name it?
Hey, girl, you want to get my Jimmy? No. All right. Bye.
Oh,
I
girl,
feel like
you
that's a
this
conversation
movie?
you've had before, Paul.
No.
That's it.
Hey, Paul, you want to get my Jimmy? No.
That's the precursor to not achieving penetration.
In
always-
Wisconsin, they call the sprinkles on ice cream Jimmys.
We called them that in Maine, too.
yeah.
God damn it. Mike,
Sorry.
had a lot of argument.
Did I ruin that for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard that
Nobody
before.
fucking calls these things Jimmys, you fucking alcoholics.
Well, speaking of ruining Jimmy's,
Sorry, Wisconsin.
the Tremor eats the tires.
Yeah, the
They can't
Tremor
go
does.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Is Colin, are you saying that's how you destroy a Jimmy?
That's what I'm saying. It's destroying that Jimmy.
Yeah.
Well, well, the town folk, they come up with a plan, y'all. Listen up, tenderheads. So with this, they're like, you know what? Let's send this little tractor out to the street, and we're gonna get this big old massive cat that weighs a ton, like one of the construction cats. And that's kind of what they do. And basically, Earl and Victor or Val always have a little competitive nature. And Earl wins a Rochambeau. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go get it. I'll run for it. But they're really good friends. And Val basically sucker punches him and runs off and tries to go get this tractor. Or get the cat as they send off the tractor. And it's working for a little bit.
Yeah, no, it works just fine. He gets it, he starts it up, he hooks like this old busted trailer to it, and they're going to cruise out of town because it weighs like 30 tons, and they think it can't get fucked with.
Busted.
Busted. No more ruined Jimmys for them.
Well, that Jimmy's busted.
Yeah. So, yeah, they round up everyone, they get them on the tractor, and they drive out.
Cattle Prod Nation.
Yeah. They sure. They pick up Reba McEntire and what's his name?
Reeves.
Yeah.
Bert and
Bert and
Reeves.
Reeves.
Burn Reeves.
And they're there.
They've been building pipe bombs for
Yeah,
the
they
last
got
10
all
minutes.
kinds of pipe bombs and
Yeah,
a lot of guns.
do you remember the quote on the pipe bombs? It's like, what's in this?
It's just household.
Oh, a little bit of
chemical-
household chemicals in the proper proportions.
proper
Yeah,
proportion,
very
yeah.
directly, he says that. Like, very, very directly.
That's a little bit of that Bert derangement.
Yeah.
I like that bird derangement.
It was kind of sad as they were rolling away from his place. Like, gotta leave the old place back. It's like,
Well, he didn't
Have
want to
somebody
leave the
go.
old place.
Yeah.
No, and he was kind of right. I probably
had all
would've
those
stayed
guns
there.
and ammo.
Yeah.
And he's probably subscribing to Guns and Ammo.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Double dose.
Yeah.
How about that? They should have just loaded up that whole trailer full of everything. I don't know why they were selecting which one should I take at the end.
Yeah,
Just
let's take them
asking.
both.
The whole point of
Take 'em
taking
all.
the cat in the trailer was that they wouldn't be in a hurry,
Right.
and then they rushed the shit out of jumping in there and going away.
Well, shit.
That thing must have taken an hour to get over there. They had time to get this going.
Yeah, I mean they built 50 pipe bombs. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What are you going to do?
Well,
yeah.
Off to the mountains.
Yeah.
yeah, they get there. They're in they're like all the passengers are in a semi trailer and they're driving off.
I guess their
Yeah.
idea was to get up into the mountains because the rock was too. Well, they're still trying to get to Bixby, but they're going this route because the mountains can't get through the hard rock in the mountains. Is that right?
You mean Shelbyville?
Yeah.
Shelbyville, Bixby, same town, same little cow town.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Graboids or the Trems, they're doing weird stuff. They kind of just quote unquote gave up, and then they're doing some weird stuff. But you know what? They built a trap.
Yeah, they did. They built a little pit.
Yeah.
We got them, bitch.
Yeah.
They fell in.
Yeah, the tractor, everything goes in, and everyone has to run off to the rocks again. And to quickly get us there, they take out another Trem pretty quickly. I do like the pacing of this, where they're like, you know what, I have this idea. There's these pipe bombs,
Yeah.
and basically,
fishing.
Yeah, they're fishing. Fred Willard's like, you know, I have this idea. Let's like get their attention. And when we throw these rocks over, they're always like, "Rah, we're gonna get them. Well, when we do that, let's just throw a pipe bomb in. And they do it, and they explode one of the Trems into crazy orange goo that just goes everywhere.
Some of it
Everywhere.
splatters on them.
And apparently it just stinks so bad.
Yeah.
And they try to do this to the last remaining Trem.
Too smart.
Too smart. This Trem went to college. Trem college.
Yeah.
That was the seismologist.
It was
of
after the
Tremor
only
group.
other college person in the room, and that's why
Nice.
it was chasing him. Like, I'm the only smart one in this valley, you son of a bitch.
I lay dormant forever. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to kill that Trem. But they try fishing, and it does not take it, as we noted.
No, it does take it.
It spits
Oh, yeah.
it back at them,
Throws it, and then, yeah.
blows up the rest of their pipe
It
bombs.
spits it right into the pile of the other fucking
Right.
pipe bombs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except for, I think they have one left.
In your mind, when you're on
Well,
a
yeah,
rock,
Kevin was holding one.
Yeah.
When all of your pipe bombs explode and you're just left on a rock like that, that really brings me back to No Holds Barred, where someone just needs to look at you and just go, Dookie.
Yeah. I'm sure there was a lot of dookie.
I'm sure Melvin probably said that under his breath.
Yeah, probably.
Well, now we got another plan.
Yeah. The plan is...
Kevin Bacon has the last pipe bomb.
Yeah. And he's just going to kind of book it.
Well, no, that's not their plan.
Right.
They're like, throw it in, dude. He's like, but it's the last one. I got the last pipe bomb.
Yeah.
He's cooking up something.
The-
He's cooking up bacon.
So the thing about the pipe bombs is that they scare them away and it gives them like a minute of reprieve.
Yeah.
So the plan was just to throw it, scare the thing so they could get back on the rock, and then slowly starve to death.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
Kevin wasn't
it's-
having that.
Something.
No, it was
Yeah.
it was a fine plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, to some extent, they want to get to the mountains. Like, there are mountains that are almost accessible, but maybe some people can make it. But it is abundantly clear if they ran for the mountains, not all of them are going to make it. Like, the best course of action would be that they would scatter a little bit, and like guaranteed, like at least a third of them would probably die. Not the chances really anyone wants to take.
Yeah. Kevin wasn't having that.
No.
Yeah.
He's
Do
like,
you think
"We're
he was
not
getting
doing
foot
that."
loose?
Yeah, he's like, I feel
He
it.
was getting footloose as he was
Fucking
running
feel
with
it.
his bomb. You have no idea what he's thinking as he's doing this.
Yeah, he just seemed hollow, man.
Oh, God damn it. Well done. Well done.
I gotta go.
Just like Kevin when he was running toward this cliffside with his bomb for some reason.
Yeah.
Still don't know what his plan is.
He has a
but
plan.
he's running with it.
He's got a plan.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Well, he didn't plan for the lighter, though.
Yeah, I forgot that
very
he wasn't a
true.
lighter. Rhonda's got it. Help me, Rhonda. There, I said it.
Well, she does.
yeah.
She does. She's like, I got the lighter. I'll light the fuse. And he takes the fuse and he cuts it in half. And he's like, we just need a short fuse. And Earl's like, oh my God, what's going on?
Like, I got a short fuse, you motherfucker.
I've been running in jeans all day.
He sounds like that this entire movie.
Yeah, it's like he's here right in the room with us.
I'm chafing. Well, that Trem comes at them, and Kevin Bacon throws the bomb to kind of distract it, and it keeps going, and then flies right off, basically through the precipice of a cliff, into just a valley and dies.
This falls to death off of. This lands off like a jagged edge rock and
Yeah,
explodes.
Yeah,
like
basically.
a fucking watermelon. It just splits open.
And then he's like, "Oh yeah, stampede!"
Yeah,
Fly,
pretty much.
sucker.
Yeah.
He says that.
But that's the name of my chew.
He says that.
Stampede chew. It's a
And-
green.
And now the graboids, which were coined and named by Walter, is dead. The fourth and final Trem
Just like that.
has tremmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has tremmed his
I
last
feel
trem.
like they did science a real disservice in this movie.
How so, Jeremy? This seems to just
Well,
add up. This seems
Yeah,
on the
I don't
up
know.
and
I
up.
feel like we could have studied these creatures. And
Well, they loaded
learned
one
from
into
them.
their truck.
When I stood up and clapped for America, when scientists saw this in the movie, they stood up and clapped and said, "Finally, people get it. They get what we went to school for." And
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
so do you, Dr. Jones. But hey, you know what? Earl and Val are still leaving.
Yeah. But now they have
Yeah.
a tremor with them.
Yeah, they're like,
for
we're going to
money.
go to town and we're going to show people in Shelbyville.
Hopefully they sell it for more than $15.
Yeah. They laugh at that. Like, ah, ha, ha.
Remember that dead guy that gave us $15 for one?
Remember the town we grew up in and everyone's dead? Well, we got this. We got
Yeah.
the Trem. Maybe, and people might be dead inside the Tremor.
Oh,
I
probably.
never
at least
thought
a
about
couple,
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like a shark, you're cutting a shark open, and
cool.
out spills a fucking body.
Like, oh, that was my friend.
Hey, it's the doctor.
Dope.
They had
Hey,
two-
Doc.
This one had the two construction workers, I think.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
cool.
sweet. And then there's some like weird flirtation with Val and Heather. There really didn't need to be a romance in this film. It really served no purpose.
Yeah.
They do start kissing, and she's like, "Oh yes," and the credits roll. That's kind of it. Yeah, that this ending is not my favorite.
No, it's a little weak, but
I mean, there should have been something like, well, like they're both in the newspaper at the end, or like local yokels find like monster. Like it could have even been like Star magazine, or like they could have camped it up. But like the kiss at the end, like that wasn't really deserved, and then it just rolls out. I'm like, eh. I mean, I have a lot of fun with this movie. Just that's an moment for me.
I mean, he saved her life. Classic 90s ending.
Yeah.
Like
There
you
you
said,
go.
there was no like romance in this movie that had to be there, and the ones that were kind of just forced in for a little bit, and it went somewhere. I mean, they kissed in the end, but it didn't have to be. If they took out those little moments where Val and she were flirting, you wouldn't like it. It didn't matter.
no, it did.
Sooner or later, you all end up in Shelbyville. Well, before we go to our final synopsis of Tremors 1990, as always, feel free to reach out to us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. Would you like to hear any requests? Do you have a request? Do you want us to review an episode? Do you need those isolated clips that I keep telling you about Mike saying some
Get 'em.
things? You got to get them. Jeremy's right. Reach out to us also, rabbittroopsucks.com, our website proper. We have links to anything. And if you're listening to this on one platform and you want to go to other platforms like YouTube or the Just Podcast app I have on my iPhone, or Spotify or Amazon or any of those places, we are at all of those places. We are also on social media, Facebook and Instagram, which is our preferred form of social media. With that said, feel free to reach out to us, get some merchandise, see what's new. Maybe we'll be setting up some new fall t-shirts. Who knows? Praise the maze, Mike. Praise the maze. What did everyone think of the Tremors 1990? Jeremy, what did you think of Tremors 1990?
I really like this movie. It was fun at the time. I really love Fred Ward, and I would love at some point in time to do like the Remo Williams movie.
It is
because
on.
He's fantastic in that.
It is on a list, and I actually was thinking we might have done Remo Williams now, but I thought Tremors kind of gives that more of like summer, it's hot out kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Please all, let's do Remo Williams. It is absolutely on par with what our podcast is.
Yeah. I had fun with this movie. Is it the greatest movie in the world? No, but it spun off like 6 other movies or 5 other movies or something like that. I mean,
and a TV series.
A TV series.
Yeah.
How about that?
Christ,
Yeah.
okay.
He's in it
Who?
too. Burt Ward. Fred
Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I enjoyed this movie. I like talking about it with you guys. It's fun. Yeah, it's just amazing that you guys say there's towns out there like this. It's fucked up.
In the
I
world?
want to go to them now. Yeah.
I don't know if you do. I don't think you will ever see you again. Eventually, sooner or later, you get grabbed.
Yeah. You go down to one of those small towns and you get graboid.
But hopefully you could just promote, Rabbit Troop Sucks. That people are like, I didn't know about this. Then they listen.
Yeah.
That's how you get listeners.
Yeah.
You go to small towns.
That's how you get listeners.
Yeah.
Force them
Yeah.
to do it.
Yell at small townies.
Y'all subscribe, you sons of bitches.
Listen, Rubes.
I'm gonna go with Colin. Colin, what are you thinking about the old Trem?
I still love this movie. It's been probably 20 years since I've seen it, but I saw it a bunch, as a kid. One of the things that I caught this time was how some of the cinematography changes throughout the movie. Like at the beginning, is it kind of gives you the Tremor view. It's kind of above the ground and kind of gives you like a snake view. And then about halfway through, they kind of commit to going underground. And it kind of comes out of nowhere, and I don't think anyone would really notice if you hadn't seen it a million times. But there's a couple hokey things like that are kind of like give it a cheap feel, which kind of makes it a little more fun, actually. I still love it. It's, like they said, it's supposed to be a comedy, but it doesn't try too hard to be a comedy. There's not like any weird one-liners or off quips. Everything feels super natural. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why it feels timeless, even 35 years later.
And you said you saw like 1 through 3, you think?
Yeah.
Did you see the old-timey one?
No, that's 4.
Well,
Yeah.
we got some homework for Colin. Old-timey homework for Colin.
Yeah.
Lamar, what are you thinking about Trem?
Love this movie. It's very simple. It's just very simple premise. Small town, small cast of people just trapped with a monster element. You can't really mess it up. You can easily mess it up, but this movie doesn't. The monsters aren't too complicated to follow. The acting's whatever. It's not stellar, but it's serviceable. This movie's serviceable for I don't know what kind of genre you want to call this movie. I want to call it just city folk trapped by monster genre. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yes.
And the monster effects, I gotta say, are pretty good. They're decent. Whatever puppeteer worked on this, I kind of like the look of them. There's some CGI moments later that are kind of weird.
Like in
Some
Bert's basement.
Yeah,
when they're shooting
you noticed
at
that too. Thank you. But that doesn't ruin the movie. The movie's fun. I can't grade it. I was going to give it an A, but I mean, it's not the greatest thing ever.
How do you feel about this? Excuse me, this franchise overall.
Oh man, that's a complicated question. Because you can watch them all and have fun with them. Are they great? I mean, are you going to watch them like Terminator? Like, oh, these are all great movies. No, just have fun with this franchise. That's what Tremors is all about. It's not a serious monster movie where you're deep in the lore, even though they try and describe lore later on in the movies. You don't need all that. It's a movie you can relax, have fun. There's people in a terrible situation trying to survive the monsters. Mike, you agree? How do you like this movie?
Yeah, I love this movie. Exactly what Paul just referenced to me. Yeah, I agree with Lamar. Like, I like that there's no attempt to explain like what they are, where they came from. It's just like, oh, they're here. We need to deal with it. It's fun. It's funny. It's like, yeah, Colin's right. There's no like comedic delivery. It's just funny because of the circumstances and the reactions. Yeah, it is just a good 90s monster jam.
How do you feel about the franchise overall?
Yeah.
I mean, this is clearly the best one. The fact that Michael Gross,
Michael Gross, yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Gross.
We Mikes call each other Mike. It's fine.
Mike.
You're on that
Yeah.
system.
There you go.
Yeah, we can just tell.
Do you ever cross the mics?
Oh yeah, constantly. Not as gross as you think. Anyway, he's in all of them, and he's like he kind of just keeps it honest. I think the rest of the movies no one takes seriously, and I think that's kind of why they're fun. The later ones are definitely straying into like made for sci-fi territory, like the one with fucking Jamie Kennedy. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fun series. It's silly, but you're gonna have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of echo pretty much all of this. Like, it's super fun. I think you should watch this. The Rami evaluation.
It's a dandy time.
If you're Rami, should you watch this in a group or alone? Totally watch this either or. I think this movie totally works, in either direction.
Has he not seen this movie?
No, he has. But he always asks, like, should you see it? If you haven't seen it, should you listen to the podcast before? Should you watch it with people? Stuff like that.
This movie you should just watch. Watch it.
Anytime.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone in this room not like this movie?
No, everyone loves it.
Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, totally watch this.
Thanks, Mike.
So you guys are highlighting that the acting might be a little questionable. I'm going to throw this out. I think Kevin Bacon's acting is kind of nuts here. Like, I can't. There's no real comparable Kevin Bacon role like this.
That was kind of funny you mentioned that because that was the only acting I found really questionable. I kind of like all the other characters. He's just kind of plain, and I can't really figure him
He's just
out.
wild.
He's wild. Yeah, exactly. He
That man.
pairs off well with his partner, but just everywhere else, it's just what are you doing, Kevin? Come on.
You got to say it like Fred Ward. Like, come on.
Come on. I thought he had him and Fred Ward had some great camaraderie back and forth together, but just him, I don't know. He wasn't baking enough.
Nice.
There you go.
There you
It
go.
wasn't sizzling. Is that what
The bacon wasn't
in that
sizzling for me in this.
trim,
No trim sizzling, no bacon sizzling. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm just gonna echo again. This movie's a lot of fun. Totally watch it.
Right.
Yeah, like no matter what. Like if you like horror, you like kind of like action comedy horror. That's kind of where it's falling under. A lot of fun though. Yeah, it was great to see. I haven't seen this movie in ages. I should say since the pandemic, but like really before then. I would say with Colin maybe like closer to a decade and a half ago. I don't really remember. But you know what we're doing to celebrate, summer's a bummer and it's coming to an end? Next week, Waterworld. We're doing it. Kevin Costner, 1995, Waterworld. This movie is considered, I guess, maybe still an epic flop. There was so much money dumped into this, and they thought this would be the biggest thing since basically Star Wars, and they were incorrect.
Oh, man.
But Mike and I are under the perspective that this movie is not as bad as people really make it out to be. I haven't seen it for a while. I don't think I'm going to go in with like a glowing review of like, you should totally watch this and it's amazing. But I do remember the last time I saw it independently from anyone, I was like, okay, I understand some things going on here, and I understand, the direction and where this could have gone. But yeah, if you have not seen Waterworld, Kevin Costner, has everyone seen this?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I like this movie.
I like this
That's
movie
super
too.
long.
How are you going to drink some water when you're doing
Well,
it?
let me. First of all, the reason this movie was so expensive, Waterworld was so expensive, is because it was filmed on open water.
And they're fucking
And there
island
is a
kept sinking.
fucking rule to fucking filming shit, and it's never film on open water, like open ocean water.
So
It's just too unpredictable, man.
what kind of water are you recommending everyone drinks during this?
Hose water.
Cocaine water? I don't know.
Right on the bathroom tap.
You have to
Dennis
pee, you have to
Hopper's
pee
in it,
into
so I
your
guarantee
machine.
there's some
Mike,
kind
Mike
of
was
cocaine
talking. Mike was
involved.
talking about ranch water before.
Yeah.
There could be other waters.
Yeah, you want to film on pure ethanol. That's where that's where it's on an enclosed set where the fumes can't get out, and that's where your best work.
Lock yourself in and just inhale until
That's called Max and the E.
Yeah.
Get it?
Well, in the movie, Kevin Costner like pees into a Mr. Coffee to get his water.
Yeah.
That's the water you should be drinking.
Pea water.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I love pea water, man.
Yeah.
Well, as
Nothing
always,
better.
Rabbit Troop pea water. Rabbit Troop sucks.
Yo,
Got any liners about the film?
I don't. I totally.
No,
I totally forgot.
Well,
no.
good night, Melvin.
Yeah.
Can you fly, sucker?
Walter.